I remember Christmas circa 1969 in our house. The Christmas dinner would revolve around the pheasant my dad had shot in a dinghy in a cold pond with John Sykes and flasks of brandy. "The bird begged to be shot. He just begged," my father said. "They damn well want you to blast him. It's their swan song, their stage play. A bird that's begging to be bagged when you're in a dinghy with a buddy half in the bag. Damn fine." Christmas dinner would be in the dining room with the table set with a burgundy tablecloth, fine silver, crystal, and 2 Christmas trees. My parents had ashtrays, large cut glass ones, next to the crystal water glasses so they could smoke in between bites. The Christmas dinner consisted of the pheasant and red cabbage. The red cabbage adorned the pheasant. The pheasant glistened, and the red cabbage was a mound of burgundy, like the color of the wallpaper in the dining room. "Bang up job with the bird, juicy," my dad said to no one in particular. "It's a thing of beauty and a joy forever." My mother was crying and smoking and drinking her wine. We were feeding pheasant to the schnauzer Shotzi and the Siamese cat called Tom under the table. My dad had consumed more than a bottle of wine and was the only one eating his pheasant. "Babe, turn off the faucet and deck the halls. Just deck the goddamn halls." We dispatched my little 9-year-old brother to get more wine. We all knew the liquor cabinet well. It was a little island on wheels. It was like a go-kart, only with booze. It was the most important piece of furniture in the house. My dad looked at my mom. "Abroad is abroad is abroad," he said. She had wiped her eyes when her mascara was running and lit a cigarette. There was now no pretense. The schnauzer and the Siamese were openly tearing up pheasant on the dining room floor. My dad's eyes glazed over. He no longer saw us. He was in his own movie. I'm not sure where he went. He lit a cigarette. "What I need is a cheetah, a big cat. Get me a big cat." My sister and I kicked each other under the table. "You kids get me a big cat." Jazz played on the stereo. We never had carols. And we had to eat the pheasant for hours, though no one was eating it. My brother and sister and I got our boxes of candy from our aunt and uncle and ate them openly at the table. No one noticed, as more wine was being poured. "Abroad is abroad is abroad," my dad said again. My mother was crying again, but the candy we ate was good, and there were presents under the tree. Presents that we'd unwrapped this morning. The gifts were given before anyone had anything to drink. The night before, Christmas Eve, we'd had movies taken of us walking down the living room stairs, one at a time, hanging our stockings on the hearth. "Great, good, UAF, now you, baby boo. Last but not least, you go, Jake, little dog," my dad said, shooting old-fashioned Super 8 movies of us. My parents nursed drinks and cigarettes, many drinks and cigarettes, and the procession was not always accomplished in one take. "No, goddammit, I said to smile. Smile, it's Christmas for Christ's sake. Christ on a crutch. Don't look like you're in slave labor. Big, big smiles. Deck the halls. Deck the goddamn halls. Fa la. How many halls can these kids deck, Marty?" We had to go up and down the 3 stairs over and over again, with the schnauzer and the Siamese following us. Down we'd go, and up we'd come, with the animals following. The animals were as confused and scared as we were. "For Christ's sakes, who let that damn cat in here? And the dog, get him away too. If I'd wanted an animal, I'd get a moose and a bobcat, so put those two away." The stockings finally got hung above the mantel after an evening of retakes. It was now very late, and a lot of creme de menthe had been consumed, till my parents got more and more shrill, and Christmas Eve grew more and more to look like any ordinary night. "She's abroad, for Christ's sakes. Abroad is abroad is abroad." "It's bad enough you're having an affair, but does she have to call the house on Christmas Eve?" "I repito, abroad is abroad is abroad." My mom, we would usher ourselves to bed as they were locked in, and it's anyone's guess when the whole damn evening would really be over. Christmas morning would start okay because they were drinking only coffee to start with. At least they held off for a while. We did the procession, walking down, the three of us, down the 3 stairs, my father shooting us with the movie camera. We'd run to the fireplace and get our stockings. Jake got a little animal and a whistle. Lisa got some playing cards and junior makeup. I got some colored pencils and a sketchbook. My mom got a see-through moo-moo and a bottle of dry sack. We then turned towards the tree. All the gifts there were for the kids. There were tons and tons of gifts. Gifts upon gifts upon gifts. The tree hung with glittering things, ornaments that had history, ornaments that were new, bright carols played from the stereo. The Schnauzer and the Siamese, outfitted in Yule sweaters, sat attentive and quiet. All of a sudden, the crack came. My dad was in the kitchen, and we heard the crack. Then the tumble of ice cubes into the ice bucket. We could hear the familiar sound of mixing, and then my father descended those same 3 stairs with a drink extended. "Something to make the heart grow fonder, Maudie?" My mom wordlessly took what was offered, and we knew things would change. We're back to the Christmas dinner, and it's dessert time. My mom had gone to get dessert, which was a Yule log with a crater in it. Something had gone wrong, and there was a crater-sized hole in the log. My mom brought it to my dad's place and plopped it down with a thud. She placed a meat cleaver next to the log and said, "Does anyone want coffee?" My father said, "Espresso, babe, 2 lumps." My father continued to feed the pheasant to the Siamese cat Tom, who now seemed stuck in the Christmas tree, which caused him to let out an enormous yowl. The tree tipped from the weight of the cat, and it toppled onto the dining room table, with the cat screaming. "Life, better than fiction. Couldn't make this up if your career depended on it," my dad said. We laughed uproariously and kicked each other under the table. The broken Christmas tree just lay there. The torn bits of pheasant, like tinsel, mingled with the broken crystal on the table. My mom poured an espresso over my dad, and my dad had his espresso and took out a package of Spanish cigarettes that smelled vile. "Book! I should write a book. I should get a big cat and write a book." My mother sat down at the other end of the table from my father and poured her coffee and lit a cigarette. My father had put on Verdi's Requiem, and the dark strains filled the house. We knew the whole thing was about to be over. We had moved ourselves into the living room to look at our gifts from that morning. Did that morning actually happen? Did we sit, fresh-faced and glowing, tearing paper and finding treasures? Verdi's Requiem soared. My dad was still saying, "I wish I had a cat, a big cat." We knew historically that this could go on for hours. We took our gifts up into our rooms and piled them into mounds. Could we touch them? Could we play with them? It wasn't safe to take anything out of the box until they passed out. That's just the way it was. Today, Christmas is much like the Yule log in '69. There seems to be a crater-sized hole in it. My mom, dad, and sister are dead. Only my little brother is left. But we do raise a glass at the end of the meal to my dad, JL, and yell, "Deck the goddamn halls!"